Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we are going to talk about another graph, and that is called a table. So table, it comes in this form. In a form of table, you will have rows and columns. This is your prompt. The table below gives information on consumer spending on different items in 5 different countries in 2002. First of all, what we can do, we can paraphrase it. Prompt has to be paraphrased, and you all already know that how to paraphrase it. After that, what we can do, we may write down the overview paragraph, and overview, you do understand any of the categories. If it shows the highest value, so we need to write that one, and if any uh, it gives you the lowest value, so we can also write the way we have written your what we call line graph clear. So exactly the same way we can also write your table as well. Then after that, what is more important for you people, you need to understand that how many categories are there in table. Suppose we have got different categories. If we want to write down the main body paragraph, this is category number 1, this is category number 2, and then what we have category number 3. Then there are 5 countries. These are 5 countries: Ireland, Italy, Spain, Sweden, and Turkey. So what we can do, we can divide them according to categories. So categories, any of the category, it shows like it increasing trend. So we may write in paragraph 1, and if any of the categories, if it shows the downward trend or the lowest clear values, then we can put in paragraph number 2. So we may write 2 paragraphs. So there are 3 categories, as I told you. So the first 2 categories, for example, these two, and look at the last category. So it shows downward. So we can write paragraph 2, 1 paragraph, because that's the opposite. So all values, if you just focus on the values. So Ireland has spent less clear on leisure, and same is the case with Italy. And then if you look at the Spain, Claire, Sweden, so overall on leisure and education, they have spent low amount clear. And so far, your clothing and footwear, food, drink, tobacco are concerned. So you can see the amount they have spent clear, that is quite high. So we can write two of them clear. So the highest one among them, then we can identify the highest one. So the highest clear spending, so we can see is on that of your food and drink. So we can say food and drink, they have spent the highest. And I would say that all 5 countries, they have spent the highest amount on food and drink. The opposite one, if you want to take this opposite part, so while we can, like for overview, you do understand we can connect the highest and then the lowest, the opposite trend, and with the help of, we may connect that with the help of conjunction while or whereas. So we can simply say that all 5 countries, Claire, they showed uh, Claire, the amount spent on food and drink, Claire, has increased in all 5 countries. But so far, the leisure and education is concerned, so you can see that the amount spent over there, that is quite low. Uh, for example, this is how like we can analyze the table. The first part, there are 3 categories across 5 countries. Then we have food and drink, highest spending category. Claire, that's highest spending category. You do understand food, drink, and tobacco. And then the second one, it's about clothing. So clothing is medium, spending 5 to 9% only. You can see from 5 to 9%. And then the lowest category. So the lowest category is for leisure and education. And that's not more than 4%. Claire, 4.35 is the highest value there. So to write down the introduction paragraph, so for the introduction, we can simply write down, simply paraphrase it. This is how we can paraphrase exactly the same part, what we have already studied. The table illustrates, or the table gives, the proportion of consumer expenditure in Ireland, Italy, Spain, Sweden, and Turkey on 3 types of consumer goods in 2020. Now, the first part, what we have studied, Claire, it's all about your paraphrasing portion. We add nothing over here. simple paraphrasing part. Then after that, we may write the overview paragraph. So the overview paragraph, we never add any value. We do understand we never add values and we never mention time. So overall, category of consumer goods that all countries spend most on was food, drink, and tobacco. Now, if you just focus over here, so we do understand. So the amount, Claire, overall amount, all five countries they spent, the highest amount was spent on what? Food, drink, tobacco. This is the first part. We never mention anything about how much Ireland spent or Italy spent. Claire, we never add any values, no values and overview. And no time, Claire, we don't want to mention even the time, but simply we can say that all five countries they spend the highest. Now highest is important. Why? Because the superlative among all three categories, so food and drink, they have spent the highest value. So the highest value is for what? For all five countries, clear, that is for food, drink, and tobacco. So simply we have mentioned that. On the other side, Claire, if you just look at that, which was three times higher than, if you want to mention, all right. If you don't want to mention, no problem. So what about the lowest one? So one side, we have mentioned the highest. So the highest category is what? This one. But what about the lowest one? The lowest spending could be seen in category of leisure and education, Claire, in all five countries. So that's the opposite one. So we have mentioned both the highest and the lowest. This is your table. And if you want to mention the overview paragraph, so we may start with overall. Once we start with overall, so after overall, what we need to mention that in all clear, all five countries, these are five countries, and in all five countries, clear, uh, the amount spent, the highest amount spent was on what? Food, drink, and tobacco. And we never mention any of the value while. We connect the second one with either while or whereas. And then you can mention the lowest one. This is the lowest. That's more than enough. Highest and lowest for overview paragraph. After that, now we want to write two main body paragraphs. So dividing, like, there are three categories, and so far we have studied clear. The highest values will be mentioned in one paragraph, and then the lowest one we mention in another paragraph. So these two are the highest. So paragraph number one, and this one is the lowest one. Then we can write in paragraph number two. It's quite simple. You have already studied all these graphs, so I'm sure it won't give you tough time. Paragraph number one, in terms of food, drink, and tobacco, if you just want to spend clear, let me clear you. Now we want to explain. So far explanation is concerned. So an explanation part, what we want to do, first of all, this is my category, and I have to mention about all the values now because this is your explanation part. All these values, the highest value. Now we can understand that Turkey spent the highest clear percentage on food, drink, and then you can mention the second highest one is for that of Ireland, Claire. And then almost like Italy and Sweden, Claire. Italy and Sweden, for example, they were almost the same. So the amount spent by these two, Claire, were almost the same. And the third one is what? That of span. So now mentioning all values for each country, that's important. Clear? First of all, we will talk about this, then we will move with this one. We have, if there is any value that's the highest. Now, in the first category for food and tobacco, clear, what we have? Turkey is the highest one. And the lowest one, for example, that's for Sweden. So it's better, like, to mention the highest and lowest value. And when it comes about your clothing and food, so the highest value is for 9 band, that's for Italy, clear. And then if you can see average, clear, we can take, and the lowest one is for whom? For Sweden. And rest is average 6.6. Can you see? 6.5, because all of them, they are the same. They have spent 6%, 6.5 almost, clear. So you can just write a round figure. And then the lowest one over here for the leisure, we can say that Turkey, they spend the highest one, and rest all of them, clear. Like for all of them, that's almost under four, clear. And the least amount they have that's spent by span. So one by one, now we need to explain them. Okay, so in terms of food, drinks, and tobacco, so Turkey spent the most. For example, the first one, 32.14%. So now if you just start looking at the graph, so the first category, food, drink, and tobacco, you can identify the highest one is for the Turkey. And how much is that? 32.14. And then if we move on with the second one, uh, the expenditure of Ireland was also high. Now, followed by, you can write followed by Ireland, Claire, with the second highest figure, and that's 28.19. So the expenditure of Ireland was also high, 28.19. So we have mentioned the second category, the highest category as well. The first one was Turkey, and the second one is now Ireland. After that, we can say compared to Sweden, if you just compare both, suppose Ireland and that of your Sweden, Claire, why did we put here both together? Ireland is this much, and the least one is Sweden. So now it's almost the half. They have spent almost the half amount, Claire. The least amount was spent by Sweden, and the second highest one is by that of Italy. So this is the reason. Now we have mentioned the highest figure first of all, then the second highest one compared to Sweden, which spent least. This was the least. Spain and Italy spent 18 and this much respectively. And at the end we have mentioned respectively because the first really 18.80 goes for Spain and then 16.3 goes for that of Italy respectively. So two of the values we have mentioned here. So now we have completed all five. The first one, the highest one for Turkey, we have mentioned. The second highest is this. This is the least one. And for these two, we have put in one sentence because if I keep writing down individually, so it may take more time and more words. No need for that. So the first category, we have cleared this. Now, in terms of clothing, the second one, the clothing and footwear. It was the second come in. It was the second, Claire. Second, not the third. This is the second category, Claire. Second highest category of consumer goods and outlays for those items were between 9 and Italy. If we try to look at the graphs. So now look at for Italy. So Italy is the highest one. This is the highest. And the least one is for Sweden. And rest all of them, Claire, rest three. This one, and this one. So we can say average 6%. We can say that's the average 6. So if you look at this, we can say that clothing and footwear was the second category of consumer goods and outlays for those items were between 9 in Italy and 5.40% in Sweden. The national spending in this area for the remaining countries average around 6.5. So now we don't want to write all one by one because it takes more time, more words, and I don't need Claire. I don't need that many words. So simply we have mentioned the highest one is for the highest value is for Italy, and the lowest one is for Sweden, and rest all the remaining countries, Ireland, Claire, we have got Ireland, Spain, and Turkey, average 6.5. So we have completed two categories now. The first category and then the second. Now the third one is you can see this one is the lowest one. Leisure and education is the lowest one. So that's why we can write down, Claire, the second one. By contrast, Claire, the lowest expenditure. Why did I put in another a separate paragraph? Because this one, it shows the negative one, Claire. This is the negative, so the opposite one. That's why I put it in second paragraph. The lowest expenditure was on leisure and education, which accounted for under 5% in all countries. Now, if you look at the countries, so it's under 5% for all countries. None of the countries have, Claire, none of the countries has spent more than 5, Claire, percent. Now, so it's under 5% for all countries. The highest one is Turkey, and the lowest one is what? Spain. So first of all, we said under 5 and all countries, Turkey spent the most. Uh, if there is any of the values that it shows the highest value, so this is important to mention the highest point, most. of these items is just 4.3 of their national expenditure, which is around double, clear? Which is around double for that of Spain. So now if you look at the Spain, so it's almost the double for that of your the first one for the Turkey one. And this is now, we can say this is the lowest value as well. So we mentioned we have put in both of them in one complete paragraph. So there are four paragraphs. The first one, introduction, the second one, overview, and the third and fourth one, we have mentioned main body paragraph one and then main body paragraph two. Okay, after this, I'm going to take your questions. If you have, you can ask me. Let me stop first of all the recording.